In today's video, we're going to be learning how to cut a sleeve, a long sleeve and a short sleeve, and this is the basic sleeve and very much beginner friendly. So let's get right into the video. So we'll be needing all these to cut the sleeve, both for the long and for the short sleeve. So first of all, I'll be marking ½ inch. This will be our starting line. So I'll just rule across after marking this ½ inch. Next, I'll go ahead and mark the height of our sleeve cap, okay? But before that, let's be done with this, okay? So right now, I'm going to measure out the height of our sleeve cap. I'm going to be using 4.5 for both the short sleeve and the long sleeve. It can vary from 4 inches to 5 inches. So you can start from 4 inches and then go ahead to 5 inches. So at 10 inches, I marked my sleeve length. So for this short sleeve, I'm marking 10 inches for my sleeve length. So I'm just ruling across. This is very simple to make. Now quickly I'll go back to the first line, and on this first line I'll be marking 4 inches at that starting line. So I'll just mark 4 inches here. Then I will go to the second line this way, starting from that place that I just marked. And then don't forget that what I've used is 4.5. So I'm folding my tape to get the half, that's the half of 4.5. I want to know what 4.5 divided by 2 will give me. So I just marked it. So I have this and I have this now. So I'm going to as well go to my bicep line. Look at the bicep, how it's being measured. Now the round, when you take your tape round around that your bicep, whatever you have, for mine I have 13 inches. So 13 divided by 2, because we're using half of whatever we have, because this paper is folded into two. So I have 13 divided by 2 give me 6.5, and I added 1.5 extra sewing allowance. Okay, so I started from 6.5, and when I marked it, I reached 8. Okay, so at 8 inches I marked. So I'll now be using my armhole curve. It's important that you have this curve. You can still use a freehand, but for a perfect shape, it's better that you have this curve. You can still use a French curve. A French curve will still do it good, but I'm using an armhole curve. So from the starting line, I'm connecting to this half of 4.5. Don't forget, I just connected it from my starting line to that point. Then I turned my armhole curve upside down, and then I used it to connect to that other slope. Okay, at that my measurement, the round sleeve of my bicep line. Okay, so I just thickened it out with my marker because I used a pen. So right now, this is the sleeve length. So I just measured out how much I have around my sleeve length, how much inches I'm supposed to have there, and then I marked it. I added my sewing allowance as well of 1.5, and I connected with a slant. Okay, this is my starting line. Don't forget, this second line is my bicep line, and then the third line is the sleeve length. You can also add ½ inch or 1 inch for your sleeve, for folding in your sleeve. Just it depends on the sleeve that you are choosing. Okay, so I'm just cutting it out. So this is very easy step for your short sleeve, and this is so simple to make. So let's get right into the long sleeve. Just like we did in the short sleeve, we're doing the same thing here. Now for this part, don't forget that what we used was 4.5 to mark the second line, because the first line is the starting line, then the second line we're using 4.5. Now instead of having the sleeve length here, we're going to have the elbow. The elbow, we're marking the elbow first before the sleeve length. So for my elbow, I have 13 inches. You have to measure out yours. So I'm just ruling out the lines, the marks points, and then ruling them out. I'll just have to measure out my own sleeve length. For my sleeve length, what I'm using is 23. Now, is when you're marking on your fabric, you know that you have to add, about 1 inch for your sewing allowance, or for for folding in your sleeve and all that. So don't forget that when you're marking on your fabric. So I'm just sticking this out with my marker. Okay, so right about now, don't forget, the next thing we do is to get our, on that starting point we are marking 4 inches, the 4 inches, and at that point where I have 4 inches, we're dividing 4.5 divided by 2. We're dividing it by 2, and whatever we have, we'll mark it out, and then we'll go to the bicep line as well, and then mark what we have. For me, I've already measured it out, so you can measure out your own. Just go around that point and then take your tape and measure the circumference around there. So for me, I have 6.5 plus 1.5 sewing allowance. So I am just doing what I did in the short sleeve. So, and I'm connecting from the starting point to the midpoint, to the half of that 4.5. Okay, and then I'm turning my armhole curve around this way, and then I'm connecting to that marker. Don't forget that that place I marked my 8 inches, I'm connecting to meet that point. Okay, so I'm going ahead to taking this out with my marker. So this is it, and at that elbow point, I'll measure out the circumference of my elbow, and then see the way you can see the picture pinned here. So I marked mine, and then I added allowance. So at 7 inches, I marked it. So please measure out yours and then mark it. Now this is the wrist point. This is very simple to measure now. Your wrist is just around here. So you have to take your tape and measure the circumference just this way. Whatever you have, you mark it. For me, I have 3.5. Now I added my 1.5 sewing allowance as well to give me 5 inches. Okay, so I'll just connect with a slanted line. I'll just be connecting with my rule, meeting the lines. It can't be a straight line because our arm is not straight. When you measure out your arm and your wrist, you discover that they have different measurements. Okay, so this is how I connected it. I'll just mark it and taking it out as well with my marker. All right, so this is how it looks. So this is so simple to make. You can see it even with your own eyes. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this out this way, and this is it. So you can see that it's not a big deal cutting out your short sleeve or your long sleeve. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more videos. Bye.